Hey friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for stopping in today. I have a new layout to share with you all for Pink Fresh Studio, and this is the new Noteworthy collection, and look how pretty it is. I am obsessed with all of these different shades of pinks and purples. There are also lots of blues and yellows and some greens. It's very light and springy, and yeah, I can't wait to make this layout using this new collection. It's my first one using this collection, and I was in the mood to use some punches. So I pulled out this circle punch from my stash, and the idea that I had was I was going to make banners out of these circles, and that stemmed from me not being able to choose just a few papers to use. I wanted to use a lot of papers, and when I want to use a lot of papers, I either tend to back a cut file or punch a bunch of small shapes. And so that's what I'm going to do today to get started. So as you can see, some of these papers are great for backgrounds. They're more on the solid side, like this light blue one. It's got a very soft pattern on it, but then on the back, you've got a lot of different images and things to cut apart. So you get all kinds of different things in this collection. So when I said I wanted to make banners, this is what I meant. I punched the circles and then cut them in half and then just sort of string them along like little half circle banners. And I thought that I would do kind of an ombre idea and do kind of a couple of the light papers that were mostly white and then go into the light blue and then go into the soft pink, kind of like that. And I don't wind up using all of those. It got a little too much. I punched too many and made too many half circles. So we're going to, change that up here in just a second as I go. But I did want to use white cardstock as my background so I could do some mixed media on it. And this is thick, smooth, white cardstock. And this is clear gesso that I am applying with my little palette knife there. And this is just going to prep the paper for liquids and all the paints that I'm going to add to it so it doesn't just soak right through the paper. And I always like to use multiple colors, and I like them to, spread and blend together. So the gesso sort of allows that to happen. So that's all dried up, and I'm going to use the Pink Fresh Studio Liquid Watercolors. I'm mainly going to use the pink, the red, and the purple colors here to start. And I've already got some of that mixed up in my little paint tray there, but I'm trying to create that deep pinkish purple color in the paper. And so I blended together the pink color, which is called bubblegum, and a little bit of the purple, which is called lavender. And then just kind of mixed it with water. I'm using my brush, spritzing it with water, and then just kind of letting it run and blend and do its thing. I still want to do the banner idea across the bulk of the page, but I wanted some color behind it and in between all of the banners. And so that's what I'm doing here. So this part, I'm not looking for perfection of anything here. I just want kind of a big color wash on the background. And this is pretty much going to be the only color that I add to the background. Sometimes I do multiple colors. It just depends. And since I'm using so many different pattern papers that have so many different colors, I felt like the background only needed one color. That way it wouldn't be too colorful overall. Does that make sense? I kind of just wanted the background color to be one anchor color, and then all of the other colors in the banners would pop off that and show really well. And you'll kind of see what I'm talking about as I go. But I did use a little bit of plastic packaging there, and I still love that technique. Yeah, I'm using a little bit of all my favorite techniques today. Pulling in a little bit more purple there, and I actually got too much purple, so I was able to dab that up. And the gesso is perfect for if you are experimenting with colors and you put too much of one color down and you're thinking, oh, I need to get that up. It's easy to do that with gesso because the color just kind of sits on top of the paper for a bit before it dries. So if you do make a mistake, you can dab it up, no problem, and then keep going. So I'm just going to splatter. I'm going to keep using the brush and just keep working on this nice big splotchy background here, and it's going to totally look different once I add all the little half circles back on top of it. And I think it turns out really cute. Yeah, there's the plastic packaging. That's just some plastic from some stickers, I think. It's perfect for helping to smush paint around your background. So I'm going to keep going. Yep, I know. I spend way too much time on my backgrounds here. It's my favorite part of creating scrapbook layouts, is making a big old messy background. So I'm going to kind of bring in some of the colors from the papers to see how it looks. And then here, I let it dry a little bit, and then I came in with just a touch of red. Not a lot, because there's definitely no red in this collection. So I just wanted to change a little bit of the pink shades. And then all I'm doing here is dripping in a little bit of white acrylic paint. I love how it just sort of instantly lightens things up and adds a little bit of a cloudy effect, and it just lightens up some areas. I think it looks really pretty, and it reacts really, really cool with the paint and the water. So love how that turned out. So I let that dry, added a little bit more off camera. I know I spend way too much time, but I let it dry. It's completely dry, and I flattened it out overnight. I put some heavy paper pads on top of it to help with, you know, the warping of the paper, because paper is going to warp when it gets wet, but flattening it out overnight helps a lot. So I'm going to build everything back, and I originally thought I would just do straight banners of each color, like white at the top, then the blue, then the darker blue, then the green. And I like how that looks. I'm going to use this cute black and white picture of my daughter. And I do like this, but we're not done with the background. Yep, you know me. I felt like it was a little too bold, so I want to soften it up. And the best way to do that, yep, gesso. This is white gesso, and all I'm doing is scraping it. I'm basically covering the whole background. It's still going to be pink, still going to be purple. It's just going to be a lot softer and a little bit more subtle. And so I'll be able to show you the difference here in just a second. Sometimes the backgrounds, you know, they turn out a little too bold, and if it takes away from the papers or the photo, it might be a little too much. So I just softened it up, and then I watered down some of that white paint, and I'm just going to go to town with my brush and splatter. I love white splatters. I think they look so cool, and yeah, I love how that turned out. So now let's put everything back and see how it looks. I decided to add some texture by roughing up the edges of each of these little circles here. So I'm going to run each piece through my edge distressor, and it just kind of scrapes up the edges. You could use scissors for that also. And then I decided that I wanted to make the banners a little crooked. Some are going to be higher on one side, some are going to dip down lower, and I like that look a lot better. It's a little more whimsical and messy looking, and there we go. I took out the green row, and I felt like that helped it a lot. I didn't want it to be so busy, and so yeah, I don't wind up using all the pieces that I punched, but you know, that's okay. So now I'm going to very lightly glue down just the straight edges of all of these circles here. And I'm using Scotch Tacky Glue in my fine liner bottle there. And yep, this is the most boring part of scrapbooking, right? The gluing phase. I let it dry, and then I'm going to show you what I did off camera. I machine stitched. Every time I have banners, I have to stitch it. And I just use white thread in my sewing machine. And so since I only stitch the flat parts, I can bend up the banner parts, so you know, it looks like they're actually blowing in the wind, and you can see the texture and dimension there. And I did leave some of the strings hanging off the ends, so they look like, you know, banners were actually hung there. And I love how this turned out. You can kind of see the difference in the background since I softened it up with the gesso, and it becomes more of a base color, and you can still see all of the fun colors in the circles. So now I'm going to work on actually embellishing the layout. I added some foam and some tissue paper behind the photo, and then I went through all of the die cuts, the stickers, the puffy stickers, the enamel epoxy type stickers, and just kind of chose things that I wanted to use. I knew I wanted to use some flowers and some leaves tucked in and around the photo, and then there's a couple of cute little birds in this collection, so I'm going to use a couple of those. And birds are perfect for banner pieces or banner designs like this because the bird can actually sit on top of one of the banners. And yeah, that little yellow sticker of a bird over on the right, he's going to just perch himself right there on that blue banner row. And then I'm going to trim some of the white border off of this little pink bird, and he's going to overlap the photo. If you notice my photo, I've actually had this photo printed for a long time. There's a lot of black in it. She was, I think this was taken at night inside, and so it was one of those photos where it was really dark around her, and so when I converted the photo to black and white, it was just a lot of black. So it's a very dramatic photo, and it's perfect for this layout because it is allowing me to overlap a lot of things on top of the black borders. So yeah, it's good for that, and I like how that little round heart sticker looks on top of the photo. And I added some thread. I know I keep talking and I'm going so fast here. I added some of that pinky purple thread on the right, some yellow thread on the left. I had originally put the blue, but it wasn't the right shade of blue thread, so I changed it to yellow. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue things down. And yeah, keep in mind when you take your photos, if you are a fan of overlapping embellishments on top of your photos, keep that in mind if you're able to when you take pictures. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I just take whatever pictures I can get. But in this case, I was able to overlap some things on there. I don't always do that, but it depends on the picture. So I felt like at this point, I just needed some small embellishments because I didn't want to cover up a lot of the banners, but I did want to add some stickers and things. And so I've got that amazing die cut piece with a couple of puffy flowers and leaves tucked in it. I've got some of these little phrase and word stickers from the sticker sheet that I'm going to layer in a couple places. I thought about using the Amazing as my title, but I really wanted to use these colorful little mini Puffy Alpha stickers. And so I'm going to create a little title along this pink banner, and it's just going to be This Sweet Beautiful Girl. Very short and simple, and I was able to incorporate one of the stickers right there in the middle of the title. And then I decided to bring in a pop of the hot pink. There is definitely some hot pink, or are some hot pink elements in the collection, and so I didn't use any of that color in the banner pieces, and so I thought, well, do I want to add that color in? And I do. I add some thread, I add a couple of stickers, and I feel like it works because that color is definitely in the alpha, the Puffy Alpha stickers too. So, and now my issue is I don't want to keep adding and adding and adding and make things too busy because I feel like the banners are pretty busy because there's so many patterns and colors, but everything's so cute and I just wanted to keep adding things. So I'm adding more Puffy stickers. I layered in another little leaf and flower on top of the picture. I added in that scripty word that says love. That's a Puffy sticker. I want to use this green camera. Since there are little bits of green, I felt like I needed something else green, so we're going to go with this Puffy sticker, and I'm going to pop it up off the page with some foam, and I'm just going to stick it right there, kind of at the corner of the photo. And then here's another sticker up at the top that says A Special Day. Yeah, sometimes you just don't know when to stop, right? Because everything's so cute. And there are a lot of little embellishments in this, so it's perfect for a layout like this where you only have, certain little tiny areas for embellishments. You don't want to add anything gigantic because it just wouldn't make sense. So everything here is kind of small and tucked into a couple places. Yeah, I'm going to add more. I'm sitting here telling myself, stop adding things, you're going to go overboard. And what am I doing? I'm continuing to add things. I couldn't stop. Somebody stop me. I'm going to use that other bird. There was another bird. I found a bird. I had to use the bird. I'm going to use some enamel dots, but enamel dots are small, so they're okay. In the end, I think this turns out okay. I don't think it's too busy, but it was so much fun to make. It's almost done, I promise. But yeah, if you struggle for an idea for a design, get out a circle punch and make some banners. That way you get to use a lot of colors, a lot of patterns, and yeah, because I struggle with picking out, you know, 1 or 2 papers to use. I see this paper and I see that paper, and before you know it, you've basically got all the papers out. And yeah, this is a good way to use a lot of the papers. So I'm adding in some more of that hot pink color down at the bottom there, and I'm just using some thread. And then I'm going to just very small, very carefully write a couple of lines of journaling on top of the curves of some of these banners down at the bottom. So it's kind of hidden, I guess you could say. And then I added the date somewhere. But that's the final layout. I love how this turned out. It was so much fun to make. This collection, again, it's called Noteworthy, and it's perfect for spring. It's beautiful. It's so pretty. I love it. There's all the details from the photos, or on the side of the photos. You can see the detail on the banners there. Those fun little alphas. Lots of detail shots here. I always go overboard taking the close-ups. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it gives you some ideas to try on your next page. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope you get your hands on this collection because it's beautiful and it's so springy and light and fun. So I will see you guys in my next video. I hope you have a great week.